I think you've given a broad background in terms of the Care Act and in terms of the main focus of the social services. Let's try to break it down a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
An OT working in social services, what does their typical day look like? What sort of assessments do they do? What are the interventions that they do?
That's good. In social care, we have got a model called the conversational model. So basically, you assess the person based on their needs and then the outcomes. So we put the patient or the person at the center because they know what they want. They'll tell you that I need help to do so and so, to go up and down the stairs, for example. And then you record what they're telling you, and then you come up with the clinical reasons as to why you feel that outcome meets the eligibility criteria under the Care Act. So just to break it down, just to clarify. So in terms of the typical assessments, so we go out usually with a tape measure, because you need to look at the environment of where the patient is living. And so you look at the barriers, just to break it down, what are the barriers that the person is struggling to overcome, whether it's to do with their social well-being or their environment, the physical well-being. So in social services, typically there's a lot of questions that we ask. First of all, you gain the consent of the individual, obviously, and the questions, but the outcomes to do with how they are managing on a day-to-day. So typical ADLs, activities of daily living. So just looking at in a UK context, or if I give examples, I think it's better. So let's say, here we live in 2-story buildings. So let's say someone is they need to when they want to get out of bed, they're struggling to get out of bed. So in the morning, so that's where you start. That's how I've managed to remember it. So when someone wakes up, they want to get out of bed, access the toilet, access the bathroom, go to the kitchen, and maybe go out to work. So you look at it that way. They can't get out of bed because maybe the bed is too high or the bed is too low, or they can't get out of bed because of them physically. They can't get out of bed. Maybe they've had muscle weakness, or they've had a stroke, or they can't get out of bed because they're depressed. So as I said, so these are the 3 main areas why someone can't get out of bed. And then we talk about the mobility. When they get out of bed, they need to access the bathroom, they need to access downstairs or go out. So we're dividing into access. So as an OT, what you do is you're just trying to problem solve. Why is it that they can't get out of bed, they can't get in and out of the bath, they can't get up and down the stairs, they can't get in and out of their property. So in social services, we've got a vast number of tools in our toolkit to overcome these barriers. So first of all is your skills, therapeutic use of self, how you're going to teach them, to overcome those barriers. And then number 2, we use what you call small pieces of equipment first, and then equipment, like hoist and, to allow them to transfer. And then there is minor adaptations. So this is across the board. So if you look at OTs within, whether in health, mental health, physical health, or community, they've got access to this. But specifically for social services, there is what you call major adaptations.
Right.
So if someone can't get down the stairs, we assess for stair lifts. We install stair lifts. We can put ramps, if they're a wheelchair user. We can put a through floor lift, a lift which is vertical from ground floor to, upstairs. We can even build an extension, to that property, saying, it's not suitable. So we adapt the environment. So we've got access to what we call a disabled facilities grant, which is up to 30,000 that a client can access for all these major adaptations, which is very typical for OTs working in social services. So yeah, so again, so when I carry out interviews for people who want to join my team, first of all, we need to know that they need to understand that you need to have an awareness of these major adaptations and be aware of the disabled facilities grant or some sort of grants, so you need to be working with with surveyors, and you need to do a lot of collaborative work to make sure that, for example, if you're putting an extension for someone, do they have enough turning space? You're putting a brand new kitchen, the surface is okay. So yeah, typical environment. You have to look at the environment, but mostly you'll be directed by the clients, because there is again what we call an asset-based approach. What is it that they have, whether it's people in their community or their abilities. So there was this person, I think he was in about 28, 29. He was in bed for a very long time, couldn't get out. It's because of his mental health, but because of his mental health, he had become weak. So there was, the mental health was encroaching on his physical health. And because of that, he was in bed all the time. There was issues to do with his environment. So the whole place was cluttered. It was a typical sort of filthy place to go into because he couldn't get to the toilet. So he used to just throw things everywhere, and things like that. So typically, you work with them using the social model of disability. There's the social model and the medical model. You don't really concentrate on what is wrong with them. He had a number of diagnoses there, but typically in social care, you're looking at the person, as a whole, the occupational performance, socially. So yeah, so my interventions, I think I worked with him for quite a while. So it was about making sure that his environment is clean, there's less clutter, there's most likely people coming in then later on to help him, carers to help him get out of bed. So I first of all gave him a bed, what you call a profiling bed, which goes up and down, to facilitate bed transfers. He couldn't walk, so there was a lot of environmental adaptations. So he can press a button, open the windows, open the curtains. So it was, to address his mental health well-being. So once there was light in the room and knowing that there are people around looking after it, he was able to get out, have a few steps. He couldn't go upstairs, so there was stair lift. And then looking at all, so it was quite graded, the graded approach that we always talk about. So I think it's about spending time, but also there's no limitation, as I said, in social care. I think that's why I've stayed, because it's fulfilling, so you can do all sorts, whether it's caretaker, because there's a lot of technology that we're using now. So as I said, there was a device that he was using, press a button, it opens the curtains for him, because he couldn't, you can't wait for carers to come and open curtains for you. So it's about promoting independence. Independently, open the curtains, control the environment, know who's on the door, look it under, this iPad and the video, opening the door for, for people like us, staff or carers. So yeah, so I think it's about looking at the social model of disability, but as I say, there's the Care Act. It talks about what are the outcomes. What is it that the adult is telling you that they want, and as OTs, it's about facilitating that, to make sure that we meet their needs. So I think it's quite fulfilling. So you can see that's just one case, but there are so many cases. And my team, I said there are about 50 OTs, and we do get a lot of referrals every single day. So my typical day is about looking at the inbox to see if there are any cases that need agent allocation, and dealing with queries, complaints, compliments, all that stuff. But yeah, it's quite a busy.
Wow. Yeah, that's really impressive. I mean, looking at the OT focus, because in occupational therapy we view, I mean, human beings holistically. Human beings are occupational beings. So this role being about enabling somebody to actually engage in occupations that they want to and that they choose to. That's what OT is all about.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for that. I know you've touched a little bit on major adaptations. You spoke about the other team members that can be involved. So maybe if you can provide an overview of the stakeholders or different team members that are involved with the problems that you often see in social services.
So as I said, social services is it starts off with within the hospital teams, like the role I was doing before. If you go in any hospital, there is the NHS, but there is a small department, a small team of OTs and social workers within the hospital. So it's about this collaborative work that we do with the acute services. So it starts off from there, So if you look at the customer journey, the stakeholders, so when someone is being discharged from hospital after an acute period, which is affecting their occupations, maybe they've had a fall or they had stroke. So OTs within the hospital, they might be doing, some cognitive assessments and, maybe teaching that person to walk and things like that. But when they're about to be discharged, they then come to social services. They're looking at immediate and long-term sort of planning and goals. So they come to us and then we assess them, see what is it that they want, what's there at home, maybe do joint visits with them, with the physiotherapists, speech and language therapists, social workers, the mental health team. So there is that sort of collaborative work, which is ongoing, it could be dietitians. So it's about, putting that MDT hat on. But then there's another as well special team within social services called the reablement approach. So the reablement team or enablement team. So that's intervention up to 6 weeks, where there's sort of intensive rehab. But in social care, we don't call it rehabilitation, we call it enablement or reablement.
Right.
So before I joined this team, I used to be the reablement occupational therapist. So in that team, there was myself as the OT, there's the nurse or the district nurses, physiotherapists, and also like voluntary organizations like Age UK or Alzheimer's Society, looking at someone's benefits or, if they need any other sort of voluntary sector where they come in. So I used to work in that team. So there's the hospital discharge, there's a reablement or enablement team, and then there is the community or, long-term, social where I'm part of now, so it's about, there's a lot of the stakeholders there. I would say, it's mainly the social workers, and again, but it's a lot of collaborative working, with the voluntary sector. As I mentioned earlier, I think they're looking at the asset based approach or the recovery, because in terms of someone's recovery, you have to look at their community, what's available in their community, what's available at home, what's available in terms of their health. So there are other things like, we take for granted the support that people have in terms of what's available in their community. So they're pushing for, we are pushing for carers, carers, they're entitled to a carers assessment, under the Care Act. So they can get support, whether they want to get, break in their caring role, they want to go away for holiday, or they want some training to use the equipment. So there's a lot of equipment provision. around that sector. Yeah, so
I see.
and then the other bits that I've left that I do as well, it's about someone's mobility. We've talked about, the home environment, but when someone wants to go out, for example, shopping, to work or to school, we need to see how are they going to, mobilize from their house to the front or to where they are. So there's, again, other stakeholders there. You're talking about, access to transport,
Right.
driving, parking, do they need a blue badge? Do they need a bus pass? Do they need a train pass or taxi card access to that? So that's my other job as well. Like I'm an independent mobility assessor. So looking at, blue badges, working with physiotherapists in that sector. So as OTs, as you can see, we work virtually everywhere. And, and social services, I think it covers everything. So
it does.
There's no reason why a lot of OTs within social care or in social services, because as you can see, we do everything.
Wow. Great. Thank you so much, Phil. Thanks a lot. Maybe as we get to concluding this talk, maybe there is a student who might get access to this video, or another OT. What sort of words do you have for anybody who might be interested, or somebody who wants to know more about this setting?
Yeah, I think you've asked at the right time, actually, because, as you can see, the knowledge or the information that OTs can have, especially in this sector, is vast. And the talk is around, a lot of social care, promoting, what else is available in the community? What is it that we can do to support people, and listening to the person or the patient, what is it that they want? And then as OTs, we have got a vast number of skills to facilitate that and evidence that, this is using the evidence-based approaches, that this is what we can do to overcome someone's social disability, social justice. So social workers, it's all about social justice, the Human Rights Act and all that stuff.
And it ties very well with occupational justice that we cover in occupational therapy, to say every individual has got a right to participate in occupations that they want to.
Yeah, exactly.
If we link that with the social justice, we are basically working towards the same goal.
Exactly. So it makes it complete. So just to round off, I was doing a project, a big project for the local authority I was doing. It was only 7 of us, and I was leading that project. It was talking about inclusion. Because at the moment, I think there's a big push, what COVID has done, it has, shown these health inequalities, but they also show in social care, social inequalities that, so the deprived communities or deprived individuals, as OTs, we are advocates for that.
Yes.
Not only that, within the workforce, there's a lot of, what can we say, discrimination.
Right. Yeah.
So in terms of our career progression, so this amount of work that I did, there's a YouTube link which was actually published last week, and I can share the link. You can have a look at it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So we're looking at the barriers that are preventing us, as for example, Black occupational therapists within an organization from progressing. Because as you can see, with 20 years experience, you're still probably a deputy, but some, the people that are obviously are above me, maybe they're like 5 years qualified. So why is that? So we were asking all those questions.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, we presented the report to, to the big guys within the local authority, and it's still happening at the moment. And we are championing that. So I think now they've realized that, as OTs or people who want to apply, whether from Africa or from within, I think as Black people, we are quite resilient. Our training is so much better. We've got so much knowledge. We understand what inequality is. We understand when we talking that, we need to support someone. I gave you an example of that man who was in bed, so I was able to use that holistic approach and champion his independence. So I think our journeys that we take, if we talk more about it, we are able to evidence that, we can do more, and we've got the skills. And just to round off,
that's very, very, very impressive. Do you have the name of
I actually sent my resignation yesterday to my manager. I'll be leading in another team. So I was deputy, so I'll be the team manager for a different local authority.
Oh, really?
To us called Hertfordshire. And they are, again, I think they are pushing that agenda about inclusion, diversity, looking at health inequalities. I think this last year, for the OT week, there was a big talk about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Inequality, health equity. So COVID, I think it exposed a lot of things, but also the events that happened in America, discrimination. So the momentum is there. So let's keep it going, So I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Wow, that's fantastic, and congratulations for the role of a head.
In 2 months' time, my title is going to change again. So that's good. Is the progression that you are talking about, career.
Wow. That's really impressive. Do you have the name of the project that you've been talking about, in case, people might want to just know what project is this?
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, I can give you a link, but if you type in ASC Quest, so it's Adult Social Care Quest. I think when I saw it, I think it was that title. So Quest, QUEST. So it was a quest to understand, what are the, these barriers that you're talking about, and how to overcome them. So I introduced the team and the people I was working with, and then the conclusion, I think it was about, sometimes we need to have enablers. We need I was talking about this model, this river model, this cow model, the Japanese model, that, we can't fight this alone, but we need a little people, to support us to push this agenda forward. So it's quite a big, it's got big implications at the moment. So
wow. That's brilliant stuff. Thanks very much, Phil. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. And if you need more information, feel free to contact us, Motivate OTs. You can just, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just put comments, tell us what else do you want us to address. You can, if you have any comments, if you need any more information with regards to occupational therapy in social services, we can still make links and contact with Phil. I'm so happy that Phil is now moving up the ladder. He's gonna be the boss.
Or if you want to apply for jobs, I'll be looking for, so get in touch,
Wow. Thank you very much, Phil.
Okay. All right.
Bye, guys. Until next time.